ओके। कोई भी लक्ष्य मनुष्य के साहस से बड़ा नहीं, हारा वही है जिसने कोशिश न की हो। Good evening, everyone. I, Richa Vashisht, a member of Bhavan's Old Student Society, extend a warm welcome to you all. We have with us Senior Principal Ma'am, Mrs. Binita Arora, Vice Principal Ma'am, Mrs. Suparna Bansal, Principal Ma'am, Junior Wing, Mrs. Soma Mukhopadhyay, alumni of Bhavan Vidyalay, and the students of class 11th and 12th for today's session. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome Ms. Chandrajyoti Singh and Mr. Aditya Bansal, who have secured All India Rank 28 and 104 in the Civil Services examination conducted by the Union Public Service Commission in 2019. Ms. Singh is a 2015 batch pass out from the school. She did her graduation from St. Stephen's College, Delhi, and after that started preparing for the examination. This was her first attempt. Mr. Aditya Bansal did his 10th from Bhavan in 2010. He has done his graduation from Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College, Delhi University. After completing that, he took the Civil Services examination and secured a very good rank. Bhavan Vidyalay and boss are proud of your accomplishments. Many congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
I would now like to invite Ms. Richa Gupta. She's the Vice President of BOSS to tell you about the Alumni Association. Over to you, ma'am.
Richa, are you there?
Richa ma'am.
Richa Vashish, you can continue.
Yes, sir. Bhavan's Old Student Society, BOSS, it is an alumni organization of Bhavan Vidyalay, Chandigarh. It is functional since the last 22 years, keeping the true spirit of Bhavan alive. BOSS believes in reaffirming that students should get more out of education even after leaving school. In consistence with school's endeavors to ensure holistic development of all students, BOSS has been actively organizing a plethora of events during including blood donation camps, school fete, BOSS versus Bhavan friendly cricket match, basketball matches, Teachers' Day celebration, school reunion, and many more. During current situations and circumstances of COVID, BOSS distributed water bottles, PPE kits, masks, chocolates to all the Corona warriors in Chandigarh. It also helped the deprived class by distributing ration kits during this tough time. Unique in itself, BOSS was the first to start with virtual reunion of 1998 batch students, virtual game tournaments like Ludo, chess, etc. And now it has come up with the webinar series in collaboration with Bhavan Vidyalay Chandigarh. This platform would provide the students with mentorship and interactive program with the successful candidates in various fields passed out from the school and making us proud. I now invite our Senior Principal Ma'am, Mrs. Binita Arora, to please address our students and congratulate our achievers.
Thank you so much, Richa. I think we've lost Richa Gupta. She's not connected for some reason.
Yes, ma'am.
So at the outset, of course, the whole purpose of this meeting, my heartiest congratulations to both Chandrajyoti and Aditya.
Thank you, ma'am.
And thank you for having agreed to be part of this series of webinars that is being organized by BOSS for the benefit of our students. Also, a very warm welcome to all the students who are attending today's session. I'm sure it's going to be a very fruitful session. I understand very clearly, both Chandrajyoti and Aditya, that this journey would not have been an easy one for you. It must have been a very tough journey. But the fact that Bhavan had a small role to play somewhere during this journey makes us feel very strongly connected to you and your success. And we're extremely, extremely proud of your achievements. You know, when I got this information about both Chandrajyoti and Aditya having made it in the merit list of the civil services, there was one thought which came to my mind. You would agree that as teachers and as principals, you know, thousands of students meet us, interact with us, leave the portals of the school and go out. And of course, your teachers are also catching up in age. So sometimes we don't remember them. Sometimes we remember the faces, sometimes we remember the names, and sometimes you need to remind us. But the day I got to know about your performance, I distinctly remembered both Aditya and Chandrajyoti. And so I said to myself that they had obviously made their mark pretty early, right from school days itself. The fact that I have never taught either of you, but yet remembered both Aditya and Chandrajyoti, meant that you had started your journey long back of making your mark. So that's very impressive, of course. You know, as teachers, I always say, this is something I say very often, that teachers have a very special privilege, and teaching is a wonderful profession in one way because we measure our success through the success of our students. The more successful our students, we believe we are more successful, we are as successful. So I don't know whether it's good or bad, but we tend to live in reflected glory. You earn the glory and we bask in that glory. So that is what Bhavan Vidyalaya and all of us are doing right now. We are basking in the glory that is so, so deservedly yours. You have earned it. A lot of effort must have gone into it. So I'll keep myself brief because I'm sure our students are waiting to hear the two of you. So once again, congratulations on the beginning of what is going to be probably a very, very enriching journey for both of you. And I'm sure an equally challenging one. And I have no doubts that you will, someday we will be hearing of you as two of the most successful officers that the services has produced. So all the best to you. And thank you once again for joining us here.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your encouraging words. And what you said was right, that teachers are so proud, and everybody from Bhavans is feeling very proud of both Chandrajyoti and Aditya. Without further ado, we shall begin with today's interaction. We have our first guest, Ms. Chandrajyoti Singh, who would share her experience and strategy of taking this exam with you. Over to you, Chandrajyoti.
Thank you, Richa. Good evening, everyone. I'm Chandrajyoti Singh, and I studied at Bhavan Vidyalaya from 2013 to 15. I pursued humanities here and then went on to pursue BA History Honours from St. Stephen's College. I graduated in 2018, and then I took a gap year because I was just 20 and you have to be 21 to attempt this examination. And this was my first attempt, and with God's grace, I've been successful. Today, I'll be sharing my journey and strategy, followed by some suggestions for the students. So firstly, my journey and strategy. I always knew since a very early age that I wanted to sit for the civil services examination, and I started making certain choices towards that direction. As I took humanities in 11th and 12th, I clearly had the goal in mind, and then my passion for history also drove me to pursue it in my graduation years, and that in turn became my optional. I actually began my preparation in full steam only after I graduated in 2018. I realized as a humanities student, coaching didn't really work for me because you see there's a lot of syllabus overlap between 11th and 12th, what we study in 11th and 12th, and what the civil services syllabus is. So I decided to give up coaching and focused on self-study and continuous mock tests to evaluate my progress. Right? Before my prelims, I focused on the prelims focus study and took mock tests. Similarly, after my prelims, I focused on my mains test series and revising my syllabus. after mains, that was when I took a long break of 2 weeks. That was long for me. And then I decided to go for my interview mock preparation. I think that was my basic journey with the civil services. And now I would like to share just some tiny aspects of my strategy. My strategy was very simple because, as you know, this exam is really long and the syllabus is really vast. So you have to keep on focusing on revising your syllabus rather than, looking for more resources to read from. So I would say keep revising your syllabus. And secondly, I think as a first attempter, what can be your key advantage is the focus on current affairs. So try to take that forward, and that's what I did. And since this question papers, if you look at them, they're becoming more and more current affair based. So I would say that current affairs was an integral part of my preparation. Now, some suggestions that I would like to make for the 11th and 12th standard students. So first of all, figure out your motivation for clearing this examination. Since this examination can take a long time and it can be really tiresome, really. So you have to keep coming back to this motivation time and again so that you don't get demoralized or demotivated. So now that you've thought about it and you're serious, you can then take some, decisions, even in your graduation years, that channel your efforts in this direction. Right now, I would say that you should be focusing on reading your newspapers regularly and thoroughly. Rather than focusing on the current affairs just yet, you should be focusing on editorials because in the examination, the current affairs that are asked are of 1 year prior to the exam, right? So right now you should be focusing on editorials, trying to form your opinions about the important issues that are plaguing the world and, form arguments. Try to understand the positives and negatives of any policy change that is taking place. Moving on from that, I think 11th and 12th standard students should really be focusing on expressing themselves in terms of writing. Since essay writing in this examination is an important component and is a full-fledged paper of 250 marks, I would say that start expressing yourself in the form of essays, your opinions, your ideas, right? And try to become more articulate. This way you can actually save time when you're taking your gap year to prepare for this examination. You can focus on those parts which you find difficult, and then because you'll always be ready with your essay preparation. Fourthly, I would like to say that you should be reading widely, especially in the topics of history, political science, economics, international affairs, from credible sources. Try to form a wide knowledge on the basis of a wide array of sources, and always try to be curious about the things that you're reading and try to figure out the concepts behind the things that you are studying. For me, I think my school years were extremely important for enabling me to clear this examination. So my co-curricular activities in the school included quizzing, and I continued to quiz during my college years. It was in Bhavan only that we won. We actually came fifth at the national level CBSE Heritage India quiz. And I think, preparing for that and even just, reading about India and Indian history and Indian culture really helped me to go through with this examination. I think this is particularly for the humanities students studying in Bhavan. Be thorough with your syllabus, and especially history, pol science, and economics. And if you have conceptual clarity at this stage, it will really make your task easier when you're writing the civil services examination. I would also like to really say that presentation in this examination is very important. So if your handwriting is not that good, try to improve it. Structure your answers better in the form of an introduction, body, and conclusion. And try underlining the important aspects of your answer. Another important thing is that you always have to obviously involve your parents, your siblings, or a few close friends in this plan, because this journey it will really tire you out. It will, your mental health is really important in this journey. So have a good support structure, which can be there for you when you're demoralized or demotivated. And lastly, I would like to say that, maintain a balance rather than just focusing on your academics. I think kids in 11th and 12th really have the opportunity to go for an all-round development rather than just focusing on academics. So try to do that, and that will definitely help you in this examination. And I would say enjoy the process in the end. Your school years, your college years, and obviously your preparatory years for this examination, because enjoying this journey really made it bearable for me, and I hope it will make it bearable for you. Best wishes to all students, and that was it on my part.
Thank you, Chandrajyoti, for motivating our students with your strategies. And I'm sure our students would definitely learn from you. Now, I invite Aditya Bansal to share his experience and strategies that he followed during preparation of the Civil Services examination. Aditya, over to you.
Thank you. At the outset, I would first like to thank BOSS for providing me a wonderful opportunity to interact with members of Bhavan family. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to Principal Ma'am, Vinita Ma'am, and all the teachers, especially Nanda Ma'am, who has been a great support and mentor to me in school and even outside. And I would also like to congratulate Chandrajyoti. So Chandrajyoti has broadly put out all the things. One thing for 11th and 12th students that I would like to bring out is I also developed interest in civil services during the same time years in 11th and 12th. So I can very much relate with you all. So I think very important question at this stage, what to do is more important than that, even that is why civil services? Because the examination process is a very long period, and to sustain that long period with perseverance, focus and determination, it is very important to be crystal clear within yourself why you want to do this. Is it just because of the allure of certain social concepts of authority that are being made sometimes, or just the fanciful ideas? Because they do not sustain themselves long, as has been my experience. So one very important thing at this stage is to be very much clear within you that yes, you really want to be a civil servant. Yes, you really want to join civil service. And one of the way to do that can be to see outside your school, your home, and see whether you really want to be a part of governing the society, being a part of administration, like maintaining law and order, maintaining rule of law, building roads, infrastructure, maintaining them, contributing to poverty alleviation, designing policies, designing schemes, implementing those public policies and schemes, being a part of international diplomacy, tax administration. If all those things interest you, then you should definitely go for it. But it is very important to make the mind very firm at this stage, first thing. Second thing, what to do, I think as far as non-medical and medical students are concerned, first they should first focus, I think, on their entrance exam, because that takes a lot of time. And for humanities and commerce students, I think 11th and 12th should be the time when you should focus on NCRTs, especially social science NCRTs of 11th and 12th. If basics needs to be done more, you can start from 6th to 12th, but most importantly, 11th to 12th NCRTs, all the social science NCRTs, geography, history, political science, sociology. And my suggestion would be at this stage, the reading focus should not be memorizing, remembering, making notes, all that can be handled later on. At this stage, it should be conceptual clarity to try to critically understand now how things have happened. Unfortunately, history has been made boring because it has been made to remember dates, remember rulers or whatsoever. But history can be made an interesting thing on understanding the evolution of human society, how mankind has evolved, how various systems have evolved, what currently political system is, what is the dynamics of Indian society that we live in, what the economic system is, and to also try to understand it a little critically on how things are and how they can be better. So first thing would be reading NCRTs very thoroughly. Second suggestion would be to read newspapers, make newspaper reading a habit. Again, newspaper reading just to know about what is happening in the country, what is happening in the world, and that too critically, like why, what is happening, is it happening good or bad? If it is happening bad, what better can be done? What can be improved upon? So reading newspapers. Third suggestion would be in newspaper reading, whenever you come across some new places, especially world places in the newspaper, it is always better to locate it in the map, because that really helps in the long term in understanding its not just geography, geopolitics, a lot of things it helps. So if one can map things out and understand at this stage. Fourth thing would be, like we spend a lot of time on YouTube, on internet. Some part of that time I think can be constructively utilized in YouTube by watching, for example, yesterday Prime Minister Modi's Independence Day speech, other speeches, looking at parliamentary debates, or there are very good Rajya Sabha TV debates available on current issues. They will really help in broadening the perspective, knowing what is the development narrative that is going on presently in our country, what are the current issues, and that will help in broadening the horizon as of now. And lastly, two, my suggestions would be, one would be what I have realized in my journey is discipline is very important in the examination process. And I think there is no better time than 11th and 12th to build that discipline, because when you are in the preparation, you don't get time to build discipline. That is something you inculcate at this stage. So discipline means making plans, making a schedule, trying to adhere to it. So I think that is also very important thing to be looked at. And lastly, as Chandrajyoti also said, I think developing extracurricular activities at this time is also very important. It will help making not examination process not boring, but making out time for other things also, and besides development of a holistic personality. So I would conclude by saying why civil services, NCRTs, newspapers, Atlas, YouTube, discipline, and extracurricular activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya. Your words will be of great help to our students. I'm sure they will take note of the little points that you have mentioned in your talk. Now, we have a few questions for our guests on behalf of the students. For this, I invite Prabhav Sharma. He's the school head boy this year, and he will be asking questions. I would suggest both the guests to please keep your pace a little slow so that the students are able to understand you both better. Okay. Prabhav, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, yes.
First of all, I would like to express my deep gratitude towards both the keynote speakers on behalf of all the students of class 11th and 12th. So moving on, there are a few questions that have been directed towards you. The first question is for Chandrajyoti ma'am from Garima from class 12 Humanities. It says that what was your exact motive behind giving the civil services exam, and how did you come to that realization?
I think I came to that realization very early on, seeing my parents, both of my parents served in the army. And I just felt that, I wanted to be in the government services to better serve the nation, and civil services because you get a wide array of opportunities, and you can work in, really diverse fields, from women's development to health and, poverty elevation, or even just, I, as a history student, I would like to preserve our cultural heritage sites. So a lot of these issues were really important to me. And that's why I decided to go for the civil services. And I think the first realization, these realizations came over the course of my school years. And then I think through my college years, I also realized that it would be a great way to make my parents proud. So I thought, why not take it up?
All right, ma'am. Thank you. The next question was for Aditya, sir. It's from me, in fact. The question is that the nature of this exam is so unpredictable that it always tempts you to have certain alternatives. So according to you, while you give this exam, should we have alternatives right from the get-go, or over time should we come to that realization?
Is right to a very large extent that the exam is unpredictable. But what I have realized over the time is the more prepared you are, the less uncertain or unpredictable it is. So as far as unpredictability should not deter you. Yes, there is a certain element of uncertainty, but that is true for any endeavor in life. There is an element of uncertainty that can be combated with high levels of preparation. And as far as having alternatives is concerned, I think it is not a bad option. It's in fact a very wise thing to have alternative, because that takes away the unnecessary insecurity that may bother you and take away your time and energy. But at the same time, you must be focused enough on your preparation and not take alternative as too serious.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. The next question was for Chandrajyoti ma'am from Idhan of class 12 Humanities. Ma'am, he wants to ask you that there must be some stages in your life where you must have felt that during the course of this preparation that you do not want to continue forward, or if there are certain things that are troubling you. So if there are any certain things where you feel down, what is your contingency plan to ultimately come up with something better and stronger?
Right. So the thing is, I never really thought of giving up, even when I felt the most frustrated, because I knew I had, the full determination that I want to do this and this only. But yes, I did feel frustrated, and in those times, I would just sulk for a bit and then call my mother and then share my troubles with her. And then she would just guide me in her own way. And she would explain to me that this is a situation which everyone has faced who's taking this examination. Because as you know, like 8 lakh candidates are appearing. So obviously, everyone, each and everyone is aware of the uncertainty, the risks, and and the syllabus is vast, and the resources, people get confused about it a lot, right? So everyone faces the same confusion. At the end of the day, you have to realize that you have to push through it and figure out your own sources and figure out what works best for you to overcome that frustration. For me, I'd say talk to your parents. That works the best.
Thank you, ma'am, for your words of wisdom. The next question was for Aditya, sir, from Ritagya from class 12 Humanities. She wants to ask you that the kind of like the general culture of UPSC preparation is considered to be like there are different poles. Like some people prefer coaching a lot, some people prefer doing it individually. So how to come to this decision that what is the best strategy for you in this regard?
Coaching is not critically important or something like that. Not even one can the decision to take coaching or not to take coaching is certainly an individual decision, and I do not think it has any significant bearing on the final result. Whether to take coaching, I think it should be decided by 2-3 parameters. One is if someone finds difficulty in reading the subjects, one needs assistance in those subjects. Someone may find certain subjects difficult, so coaching may be taken. Or secondly, some people may have a problem of stimulus or a problem of making schedule themselves. So they can, and you have to see a lot of factors. You have time available, what kind of needs you have. Otherwise, coaching is not necessary for clearing the exam. You can clear it with self-study very easily. Many people have done that.
Thank you, sir. The next question was from Tarun from the commerce stream for Chandrajyoti ma'am. The question is that considering that how the schedule gets so occupied during the UPSC preparation, so how to take out time from take out time for yourself and your personal life, considering your mental well-being is as important as any other thing.
Right. So what I would suggest is that take regular breaks. That is a very important aspect of this preparation. So after every 50 minutes or an hour of study, take a 10-minute break. Just walk around in your room and just listen to some music for 10 minutes. But don't let it exceed that 10 minutes, because that's the problem with most of the students. They decide to take a 10-minute break and then they start browsing the internet or something, and then it gets extended into a 15-20-minute break. So I would say take limited breaks. Then secondly, I would also suggest that what I did in the beginning of my preparation was take a break, like a longer break for 3-4 hours, wherein I would meet a friend or, just talk at length to my parents or watch a movie by myself or read something that is not related to the syllabus. Every 20 days, I would do this. Later on, I decreased this to every 30 days. So you can try this technique also. It will ensure that, you stick to your rigorous discipline and your mind is not tired of the discipline that you're following, so that you have some time to yourself and you can enjoy as well. So this will rejuvenate you for the next stage of the preparation. And I would suggest that taking a break after 20 days proved to be really helpful for me.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question was from Ayush from the sciences stream for Aditya sir. That how is it possible for us to identify in the best way that do we possess the skill set that is required for the civil services examination or not?
There is no such specific skill set required for the examination. As Mahatma Gandhi once said, that once one sets his mind upon something, one can develop the skills even if he does not have in the first place. I think this is very much true for this UPSC examination. There is no such specific skill set required. Only one thing is required is a lot of focus, determination. And again, that comes only by when you have crystal clarity that you want to be a civil servant, that you want to be in civil services, and you are ready to give whatever it takes. When you are ready to that level of mindset, when you have, then you can know what kind of skills are required, and then you can easily acquire them. Because nobody is naturally born sometimes with those skills. Nobody is born with making notes or writing answers. All those things can be learned over the time. What is required is just focus, determination, I think.
Definitely, so that really enlightened all of us, I'm sure. apart from this, there was one common question for, in fact, both the speakers, that like, what is a certain vision or something that you completely look forward to doing in your future endeavors as a part of the civil services?
Shall I go first?
Yeah.
Right. So what I really look forward to doing as a civil servant is like just as a woman myself, I have been really attached to women's issues, and I would like to take that forward as a civil servant. Secondly, like I said, as a history buff, I think I want to really preserve our cultural sites. We have 37 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and I think all of them require our attention. And those are the two things that I would really like to take forward. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Also, Aditya sir, if you could please answer the same question.
Since I most probably I would be getting IPS, so I think my two priorities would be, first would be rule of law and maintenance of security in the society, because I think that is the first dharma of the state, maintenance security, assuring the safety of all the citizens. And second thing, I think I would like to improve the reputation of police in the society and ensure better police-society connect, and so that the trust levels between police and society can increase radically. Thank you.
Definitely, sir. Thank you. So these were the questions from the side of the students, and we really thank you for enlightening us in ways more than one. I'd like to pass on the floor back to Richa ma'am to start with a statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhav. The students were very enthusiastic and they were very happy to meet both Aditya and Chandrajyoti. Aditya and Chandrajyoti are also using some social networking sites, and students can connect themselves to Chandrajyoti and Aditya there also. So if you both wish to share your social media profiles with them, you can do that. Chandrajyoti?
I'm available on Instagram, Chandrajyoti Singh, and I am planning to start a blog wherein I like detail my entire stages of preparation. So that will be up in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and hopefully you'll look forward to that, and you can learn more about the civil services preparation from there.
That's amazing. Aditya, what about you?
I think if somebody has any question and wants to connect, he or she can post at Quora. I'm available at Quora also. Instagram also, Facebook also. Quora is best, I think, if somebody wants to ask some questions.
That's amazing. There is a myth. There are actually many myths about civil services, that you have to lock yourself in a room and, you don't have to come outside and anything under the sun can come for the exam. But I think after listening to Aditya and Chandrajyoti, we can make out that an overall and all-rounder personality is required for the examination. And that is why both of them made their names in the list of UPSC this year. Now we are coming to the conclusion of today's webinar. I would like to extend my thank you on behalf of BOSS. I would like to thank Principal Ma'am. Ma'am, thank you that the institution always encourages the students to have organized such activities, and we have amazing alumni who are doing wonders in various fields. Our teachers...
Richa, sorry to interrupt you, but we have a question from a BOSS member as well, to both of them.
Okay, I think we should take up that question and then we'll conclude. Yes,
so this is from one of our senior BOSS member, Keshav, who was also an aspirant for UPSC. He cleared the attempts, but somehow he was not, he did not continue, right? So, ma'am, Chandrajyoti, it is for you. Is it like to be a brilliant student to crack an examination, or can an average student can do this?
I think any student can do this if they set their mind, if they have determination, and if they really think that they want to do this for the right reasons, then definitely anyone can. It doesn't and obviously intelligence is different for different people. No one can comment on anyone's intelligence, but you can definitely work hard, and there you can really win over another person who might think that they're more intelligent or anything of that sort.
I have a question that I would like to ask you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
I just wanted to say, I mean, so often, year after year, we hear those who've been successful, the UPSC candidates who made it. There's a lot of zeal and enthusiasm. But when I see the current lot of officers, we have only a whole lot of complaints about them. What goes wrong during the journey? Once you become, what do you think? It's too early for you to say, of course. But what happens to our IAS officers and civil servants along the journey? To at least some of them.
Ma'am, in my personal opinion, I would think it's complacence that you've made it big and then they get complacent after that. And I don't think that should be the case for anyone, because I feel that this after the clearing this exam is just at the beginning of a lifelong service to the nation. So I feel complacence gets to some people. Yeah, that's, I think, the major reason.
What do you think, Aditya? What happens? Like we hear of corrupt police officers and of course the corrupt IS officers and those who are insensitive and probably just not doing what they should be doing. So what is it that happens? I mean, like, where does all this enthusiasm and zeal go? Where do you think? Because I know it's not, you can't tell me, obviously. You're just starting the journey. But what do you think happens?
I think, ma'am, when one may become a lot of self-obsessed also, ma'am, in the process, because a lot of psychophancy and a lot of things, become self. We really do something.
Yeah, psychophancy, yes.
Yes. To do real public good, I think one of the very important things is that one should identify himself with the society and with the nation, not with oneself. Then only one can take up whatever challenges come and resist corruption or resist whatever pressures come and not be inefficient. So I think that identification somehow from nation becomes more with self or the family. I think that, I don't know for sure.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay. Then we have a question from the audience as well. What is the best subject combination for UPSC? I think both can answer this.
Should I go?
Sure.
Yes, please.
I feel that there is no, you can't say that there is a best subject combination. I feel that, whatever you're doing, whichever field you take, medical, non-medical, commerce or arts, just focus on doing your best when you're in 11th and 12th standard. And then you will start figuring out things when you go to your graduation years. I do feel art students have it slightly easier because the subjects that they study, a lot of them overlap with the syllabus. So I think that would definitely help them. But still, anyone for that matter, today, IITians and, engineers clear this examination in hordes. So I feel that there is no best subject combination. You just have to focus on whatever you're doing. And then when the time comes to prepare for UPSC civil services examination, you do the reading that is required of you and you'll make it.
Okay, thank you, Chandrajyoti. And what do you have to say, Aditya, about this?
I'm also of the same view as far as the streams are concerned, medical, non-medical, commerce and arts. I think every option has its own merits and demerits. Medical, non-medical, though one may think that the subjects are not relevant to civil services examination as such, but I think one gets into professional college, one has good company, one has the habit of hard work, and they can easily get through. We see so many people from those colleges. Arts and commerce have an advantage that they have subjects resonating, but one thing may be that if you do not get into good college, the company may not be so good, or one may become complacent or not so motivated during the years. So everything has its merits and demerits. One has to decide individually based on what suits himself the best.
Okay, thank you, Aditya. One more important question apart from cracking UPSC. How did you prepare for personality test? Again, a question from a student. Chandrajyoti?
Yeah. So for the personality test, I focused on 3 things. First of all, my detailed application form, because as you know that they ask you your hobbies there, your achievements, or your preferences, and everything is basically written there. So the panel members of who are taking the interview, they can ask you anything from your detailed application form, and you have to be thorough with it, first of all. Secondly, I would say that you should definitely be focusing on current affairs. Current affairs is important to each and every stage, but I think, in interview stage, it becomes really important. Thirdly, I would say your optional subject, for me, it was history. So I focused on brushing up, my optional. And to top it off, I think each and everyone should be taking a couple of mock interviews. I think I went a little overboard by taking 5, 6, but 3 or 4 will do the job. So do that, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you. And Aditya, your turn now. What do you have to say about it?
Same, ma'am, exactly same 3 things. One is detailed application form about yourself, about your home state, about your optional subject, your graduation subject. These are questions that are certainly asked in any interview. Second is current affairs, national and international affairs. I was, the day before my interview, President Donald Trump has come to India for a visit, so I was asked questions about his visit. So current affairs, and third is obviously giving mock interviews for practice.
Okay, thank you, Aditya. Thank you, Chandrajyoti, for this. And now I hand over it to Richa Vashisht for the thank you note, please.
Before the thank you note, the students are, sending in more questions. I would like to ask one question of Miss Oshil Bansal. This year, she was the Tri-City topper from Bhavans. So she has a question that she reactivated basically all the social media accounts in order to not get distracted during her 12th board preparation. She wants to ask the both of you that how did you keep yourself, focused, and how did you handle the social media in today's digital world when there are so many distractions? So what about the social media accounts and how did you do that?
Right. So I think throughout my graduation years, I was quite active on social media, but I had made the decision that, once my graduation is done, I would like to be off social media, at least till the time I clear my civil services. And that's exactly what I did. The day I got the results, I was back on all, Facebook and Instagram and everything. And I do think social media does distract, it distracts you definitely. And I do feel that, Facebook and Instagram, you should definitely try to keep, yourselves off these 2 websites. But WhatsApp, you can definitely use. And Telegram is a good social media site to actually, get access to notes and all. So these 2 are fine. But other than that, try to keep your social interaction slightly low. Hang out with your close friends, but there's no need to, be on Facebook or any other form of social media during the years of preparation.
All right. Aditya, what about you?
Same here. Preparation actually requires a lot of time. Social media unnecessarily wastes a lot of time looking at other people's profile and posts everything. So I also deactivated all the social media accounts.
That's amazing.
Yeah. There's a question I'm asking. This is Sonia Malhotra ma'am is asking a question. And I want both Aditya and Chandrajyoti to answer this. First, Chandrajyoti, you would answer. Sonia Malhotra ma'am has asked this question. She's asking, please share some interesting questions which were asked. Any interesting question which you still remember and you want to talk about it, which was asked during your interviews. Chandrajyoti, to you first.
I think one of the most important questions they asked me was it was really strange also. They said, well, you've done your 11th and 12th in humanities, your graduation in history, and again your optional is also history. So how will you face up to the challenge of technology, and how today's administration is more and more becoming technology based. So I had a very normal answer. I mean, I just said that I was born in 1998 and I've grown up with technology. So I'm a digital native, and if there's any problem that I face, I would obviously try to keep up with the times and learn whatever there is to learn about technology. I think that was a particularly interesting question. And another question that I would like to share was. One of the panel members, they asked me, a question on alternative history. So he said that Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, had he been successful in, seeking the help of the German forces and the Japanese forces, do you think India would have looked the same? So at first I sort of went in one direction only. I said that these were fascist powers, so India could have been a fascist country. But then I said that Subhash Chandra Bose obviously had a great deal of respect for democratic ideals. He stood for Congress elections, Congress president elections. He resigned also when he felt that there wasn't support for him. So India could have gone either way. So and I think that's what they're looking for, a balanced view.
Balance, yeah, it has to be balanced.
Balance,
good.
Yeah.
Very And what has Aditya to say about an interesting question that comes to your mind, Aditya?
I was asked by the chairman that one morning in the newspaper, tell me what 3 ideal news you would expect, one from governance front, one on the economics front, and one on the sports front. Tell me the 3 ideal news items you would expect. And one member asked me to recite I am from Punjab, so he asked me to recite the Pehli Paudi of Guru Granth Sahib.
Oh, okay. So do that?
I knew that.
Can we hear that from you?
एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पूरक निरभो निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सहबा गुर प्रसाद जपात सच है भी सच नानक हुसी भी सच. So he asked me, and the chairman also asked me, like we have a policy of non-interference of third country in Kashmir matter. So he said, let us say the time is appropriate for Prime Minister Modi to say that USA should, President Donald Trump should intervene. You advise Modi how to handle the Kashmir affair.
Okay, what did you say?
What advice did you give him?
I said I would tell Modi to take USA's help in capturing POK back.
In what?
Thank
you.
I couldn't hear you. Take USA's help in?
Taking POK, Pakistan occupied Kashmir back and helping them in Afghanistan.
Okay, thank you.
I think we're done.
Yes, Richa?
All the questions are, I think, now answered.
There are more questions coming up.
What should we do? Should we ask them, or further the students can also connect with Chandrajyoti and Aditya on their social networking sites, accounts? Ma'am, would that be fine?
Yes. I think that works with me. I mean, students are welcome to connect with me on my socials.
Okay.
That's amazing. That's amazing. The talk has been amazing. I did start with my thank you note before also, but since there were more questions coming in, it only showed that students were so enthusiastic. They were very excited to see the both of you. And, you know, many times we hear that Bhavans has these Tri-City toppers, but in the recent years, we have also seen that civil servants are also, you know, we have some pass outs who are getting selected into the UPSC. So that's amazing. It has set an example for everybody around, and especially the young students who are there in 11th and 12th. It requires an all-rounder kind of personality. And I remember Chandrajyoti was also part of the school cabinet, and Aditya must also be active in many extracurricular activities in his school and college days. Now, coming to the conclusion of today's event, on behalf of BOSS, I would like to thank Principal Ma'am, Vinita Ma'am. Thank you for letting us organize this with Bhavans, and your encouragement will always motivate the students to follow a very good path in their life. Suparna Ma'am, Soma Ma'am, Ms. Chandrajyoti Singh, Mr. Aditya Bansal, all the alumni of Bhavans, our dear students, for taking out time and joining us today. Radha Ma'am, who is the head of BOSS, and she has always encouraged us to organize such events. Vinay Sir, who is the president of BOSS, and he is thinking of organizing more such events in the future. Richa Ma'am, who is the vice president of BOSS, Inderpreet Sir, our senior advisor, and he has been actively helping us out. This webinar would not have been possible without the efforts of Team BOSS and Bhavan Vidyalay's cooperation. Aditya and Chandrajyoti, both of you were very open and honest in your answers and talk. And we will have more such initiatives for our students in the future. कुछ शब्द हैं, जब मैं स्कूल में थी तब भी मैं पोइट्री वगैरह में काफी पार्टिसिपेट करती थी, तो कुछ 2 लाइनें हैं आदित्य और चंद्रज्योति के लिए. अभी तो नापी है जमीन आपने, आपका आसमान छूना अभी बाकी है. All the very best for your future endeavors. You have made us really proud, and we hope that you have an illustrious career as civil servants ahead. All the best. Thank you everyone for taking out time for this webinar. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Good luck to both of you.
Thank you, ma'am.